Earl was just 60 years old when he died of skin cancer at Shattuck Hospital in Jamaica Plain back in 2020. 3 years earlier, he had seen a hospital dermatologist about a mole on his nose, which she suspected was cancerous, but didn't order a biopsy. Ultimately, the dermatologist recommended surgery to remove what had become a tumor on his nose, but that wouldn't happen for another 11 months at a different hospital. By then, the cancer had spread. Earl died around a year later, and just 3 years after he had first entered Shattuck Hospital Psychiatric Unit. Earl's avoidable death and the series of missteps by the hospital were the focus of an investigation from the nonprofit Disability Law Center, which found that Earl had a high chance of survival at the time of his initial visit, but instead, the hospital's failure to provide appropriate medical treatment constituted neglect and contributed to his painful, untimely death. Earl's case is just one instance of ongoing issues at the Shattuck, first reported by the GBH News Center for Investigative Reporting. I'm joined now by the journalist behind that report, GBH News Deputy Investigative Editor Jennifer McKim, and Haywood Earl's sister, Beverly Goodridge. Jennifer, Ms. Goodridge, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
I want to start with you and just ask, who was your brother and how did he come to be in the care at the Shattuck Hospital?
Haywood, he initially became under the care of the Shattuck around 2017 when he was transferred from Solomon Carter Fuller to my objection. And once he was inpatient at the Shattuck, everything basically went downhill. He would reach a point of baseline stabilization, and then if the doctor, the psychiatrist he was under, felt he needed a change of medication, it had to go under the court. They had to approve it. Sometimes it would take months before the doctor would literally get those changes, and Haywood will go downhill again. Then he would start to become more and more psychotic, and the wheel just started over again. So he was there for 3 years, and during that time, I had to basically fight for everything for him. Even from the point of the initial doctor he was under, the administrative people pulled him from under her care and put him under another doctor's care that was not really invested in Haywood getting better. He went downhill then, and that's when a lesion started to pop up on his nose. They had monthly team meetings. Nothing was vocalized to me about the lesion until I had to literally fight to get him to be put under another psychiatrist. So during that time span that Haywood was at the Shattuck, he literally had 3 psychiatrists.
Jennifer, I'm so proud to be your colleague. Number one, you quoted one person's characterization of this case as incredibly shocking, given that Mr. Earl was in the hospital and supposed to be receiving care. What can you tell us about the Disability Law Center's findings, and what did the officials involved in the case have to say for their care of him?
So the Disability Law Center started this investigation after Beverly asked for it, because she, as she told me in the story we had run, that she just felt like something had gone wrong. She didn't understand why he would die, why her beloved brother would die from skin cancer. So she went to the Disability Law Center. They looked into it, and they got an expert to look at his case, and they said he would have survived if he had gotten some timely treatment. And so that was the thing. And she said what Tatum Pritchard, who I quoted, said it was so shocking because there he was in a hospital, in a locked facility, in a psychiatric ward, and yet nobody in the place got him help or told Beverly what was going on for over a year before he got help.
And so what did the officials involved in the case have to say? Both the doctor in this specific case, and then your reporting, you talked to state officials also.
Right. So as part of the Disability Law Center investigation, they went to the state, and the state basically acknowledged that there were problems with what happened. They would not admit, as the Disability Law Center asserted, that there was racism or bias because of his mental illness, but they did say that there were problems. And they told me that it was a tragic death. The doctor also, who's a dermatologist at the facility, she's been working there for a very long time. I got her on the telephone and she said she had never been told about this investigation and that she didn't believe she had done anything wrong.
Ms. Goodridge, I heard this story and thought that cases like these play into people's skepticism about medical institutions. Did you lose any faith that you might have had before your brother's death in the ability for hospitals or other medical institutions to care for people?
Well, I initially didn't have any faith in the state care, psychiatric care for Haywood. Haywood received the majority of the psychiatric care from Beth Israel for over 20 years. And there was a point where the medical people at Beth Israel felt he was just too much, and let's put him under what they call the Rogers Act, when you become under the state ward. And that's what happened. So in me having faith in medical care, I have faith in medical care that is quality, that cares for its patients. It's very sad that you're in a public health facility and the name of that facility is Lemuel Shattuck. Mr. Shattuck, his vision was for quality public health care for the public. So it's so ironic that the Shattuck Hospital is at the point that it is now when money was given by this man's estate, Mr. Shattuck, who had a vision for public health, quality public health.
Jennifer, to Ms. Goodridge's point, this isn't the first time that you've looked into criticism of care for really vulnerable patients at the Shattuck.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the state hospitals that cares for some of the state's poorest patients, including prisoners, the unhoused, and people with mental illnesses like Beverly's brother. So, and there have been problems over years. We investigated this because we had heard about a doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, who had been sued 20 times by prisoners for allegations of medical malpractice and other issues. And that was when I started looking at this case of the Shattuck Hospital in Jamaica Plain and heard from many people, both activists, prisoners activists, others, as well as former doctors who have spoken on the show about their concern that the hospital has problems with oversight and has put patients at risk.
A number of systemic issues to report about. Ms. Goodridge, I wonder, are you looking into any legal action given the Disability Law Center's conclusions about your brother's case?
I'm glad that you asked the question. I have already looked into it. I'll say in 2000 and Haywood passed August of 2020. I immediately looked into legal counsel, and I was told that basically it wasn't worth them to look into it because of the bureaucracy of that state institution and what they would have to put out. It wouldn't be worth it for them. One law firm did go to the point where they obtained an out-of-state oncologist, and that, from my understanding, that oncologist said that it's not worth it. The bureaucracy is too much to even deal with.
And you still feel this way post-report?
No, I don't actually. I've learned that there's actually a gentleman, a young man from the DLC, Department of Correction, who was seen by that same dermatologist who supposedly evaluated my brother, and that parent is suing that particular doctor. So I had no idea that my brother was seen by a dermatologist at the Shattuck.
That's something that I learned from your reporting
Right,
as well.
exactly. That was her big frustration, that no one told her. And it wasn't, she was there every week visiting her brother and meeting with the team every month. And no one told her for months and months that her brother had been seen by a dermatologist and there was concern about cancer.
Another thing that I found interesting in reading your reporting, they don't use or require board-certified physicians to work with patients. Why is that?
Yes, so that was another issue that came with our first investigation, that this orthopedic surgeon who had is a focus of these lawsuits also is not board certified in orthopedic surgery. And this doctor, this dermatologist, also, I spoke to her. She said she's board qualified but not board certified. The state says, listen, we would like everybody to be board certified, but it doesn't, if not having it doesn't mean you can't be a doctor, and that there's issues with work shortages and hiring that they haven't been able to do it. I've spoken to other people in other hospitals who say they would not have doctors work in their facilities without certification. So it is an issue.
Ms. Goodridge, I'll let you have the final word here. Just quickly, what would you want people to know, folks who are looking to fix the situation so that it doesn't happen again? What would you want them to know?
When Haywood was alive, like Jennifer said, I visited him every week. They had team meetings monthly. I literally went to every team meeting. I would pick him up on the weekends, take him on passes, go to get a haircut, the community barber. Sometimes the barber would come up there to shave him, to cut his hair. I got to meet a lot of those patients. In the summertime, they would be outside having their smoke, doing their walk. They would run up to me, "You're Haywood's sister? I wish I had someone to look after me like Haywood had someone to look after him." So what I would like to happen, those people, some of them are gone now. I would talk to different people. "Where's so-and-so? Where's, oh, he's gone. He's passed away." Many of those patients there passed away before Haywood passed away. Did they have anyone in their family who knew that they passed away, or even knew or know that they're in the Shattuck Hospital?
Ms. Goodridge, Jennifer McKim, thank you so much for being with us.
Welcome.
Thank you.